Alrighty, folks, and welcome back to your NTEL semi-finals. We've got our second game of the bracket here between Team Destiny and Youngbloods. I'm Cadius, joined here on the desk by Bladexa, who is one of our grand finalists, who is hopping in here today. How are we doing?
Excellent here, ready for the matchup to decide who we'll be facing in that grand finals. And of course, these two teams with their storylines finding themselves into yet another semi-finals in this Northern Territory Esports League. No surprise there.
Yeah, no, definitely these are two teams that have proven to be somewhat favored since the very start of the tournament. Youngbloods even holding the first place for quite some time before dropping down, but still managed to stay into the top four. They are here, I believe, as our third seed, going up against second seed Team Destiny, who are kind of previous reigning champions who have had a bit of a wash of luck in the past couple of years and have, you know, now they're back and trying to prove themselves here that they can take out the grand finals yet again. So a lot on the line here for sure, whether or not it's going to be the rookies up and coming Youngbloods or, you know, the long-time favorites Team Destiny.
Yeah, it's kind of strange to think of Youngbloods as the rookies here, as they are not as young as they used to be. There's a lot of old names on that roster here. But yeah, their roster's been changing around quite a bit, and even right now, we don't see Dark Knight on their starting lineup. We see Artur in the mid lane, it seems, with this game, which is a pretty interesting matchup. If you know who DST Guard is, they're actually related by blood in the mid lane here. So who knows, maybe a bit of Yasuo and Yone mid lane, just the brothers battling it out in the middle. I'm excited to see how that sort of isolated matchup goes here.
Yeah, there's also... There's definitely a lot of banter between these two in the stream chat at all times, so I expect, you know, if they can bring that kind of banter to the game, to the Rift, that's going to be what I'm excited to see here. But honestly, we're just waiting on the players to start right now. I have no clue what they're doing. I think we're just waiting on Youngbloods to sort something out, but they shouldn't be too long. Hopefully they do start. I do believe we still have the, you know, oh, and here we go. They are going to be hopping right into Champ Select. First ban going the way of Destiny here.
Yeah, finally getting us into this Champions Select. Destiny coming into this matchup did have side selection, so I assume they're going to do something with this blue side that they have chosen. Yeah, so possible first pick priority, because I know in this tournament there has been a lot of usage of that red side counter pick all the time. Teams leaving up that superstar player to have that counter pick at the end, and you know, a team like Destiny has a roster of many superstars that could definitely take advantage of that. So honestly, this sort of meta, I do like the red side a lot more because there's no super overpowered champions. In fact, there's a lot of high priority champions, but there's so many of them that you can sort of let one through. In pro play, we often see like the Lee Sin taken off the board straight away just because that super powerful flex power, or in the Corona Spaceship versus Jupi's series, they took Aurelia off the board straight away too. So the flex picks are still there, but right now in our scene, we don't have many players that can pilot that like Lee Sin to multiple roles, or that Aurelia, just the Aurelia mechanics aren't super there yet. So some of these powerful flex picks aren't easily drafted for a lot of these teams. So yeah, having that counter pick is, I think, better at the moment for this sort of league. But we'll see what Destiny has it in mind. They're actually going to be picking Jin first pick. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's very int. I think Jin obviously has a lot of matchups that he's terrible into, namely tanks. So, you know, Nikchu and Django being tank players themselves, I would expect that just to be the immediate response here. Lock in two of their more favored tanks to go into the Jin. They do actually decide to lock in the ADC here, which is interesting. If they do not draft two tanks here, like if they don't grab the Ornn, grab the Sejuani, things of that nature, I imagine to make the Jin's life easier, those picks will get banned off in phase 2. So definitely needs to be some priority there, but we'll have to wait and see. What are your opinions on the actual Jin Caitlyn matchup itself, though?
Jin into Caitlyn, I think Jin does fine in basically every matchup you can throw him into, just because that Q has so much utility at clearing out those waves. You know, he doesn't exactly have the most spectacular range in his own right, but he can have a lot of wave manipulation with his abilities. And yeah, Caitlyn can't usually walk up for free, just harassing him. With the CC that he can offer, if he does trade back, he could easily set up. I always thought of Jin as like a pseudo support, sort of like Ashe, because he's not exactly the most powerful in his own right, but he does set up your support.
He's got very powerful utility. But Kane for Aceco here. This is This is a very interesting one. I think this is an ace go first in the NTEL at least. I don't believe we've seen this one.
Yeah, I don't think we have, and I saw him dabbling around in the solo queues, playing around with it, but it doesn't really seem like an ace go champion, because traditionally we see him play very aggressive early on, and this isn't exactly a champion. It does sort of reward you for playing aggressive, but it's also very punishing, because you're playing as a champion that wants to fight early to get those souls stacked up, but you're also very weak early. And to something like the Trundle, who's going to probably be taking that PTA and absolutely bursting you down, you got to be picking your fights very carefully on this game.
Yeah, definitely. They do have Caitlyn and Corki locked in, so a very scary late game here with this scaling mid laner. Definitely Corki, once he gets those items going, is quite a force to be reckoned with. Usually counteracted by the fact that, it doesn't have the strongest laning phase, but we are going to go into ban phase here. And as I mentioned, I'm expecting Destiny to go all out here, banning down those tanks, not letting Django and Nikchu have an easy time picking comfort tanks into this Jhin lineup. They do have the Kayn to fall back onto, obviously. Rust very good at dealing with those tanks if they do decide to go for a very kind of stat-inflated sort of team. But yeah, there we go. They do just want to take those off the board on getting banned out. I would expect this 5th ban to be Sejuani. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. I can't imagine what else you'd really go for if you were looking to take something off of Youngblood's books here. But I am curious to see what kind of angle of attack Youngbloods go for here, looking to maybe get rid of the Aurelia instead, perhaps something that one of the players has been known for a little bit, and that is going to be Rakan taken off the board. So one thing to note here is that Prodigium's Thresh, maybe for one of the first times this season, is actually on the board.
Yeah, it's definitely a powerful pick into champions like that Corki and Caitlyn here. I think the only thing Youngbloods really have to worry about is their draft, is their lack of safety right now. If this Kayn goes blue Kayn, even though we traditionally see the Gordrinker build, that it's going to be so hard for the Caitlyn and Corki to play around this Kayn, coming over walls and teamfights, just going for those one-shots. So
yeah.
Right now, Youngbloods have to be worried about the potential dive options and be drafting utility to counteract that and keep these carries safe, because they've got damage down lock here, don't they?
So I definitely do think this is going to be a Thresh. I think after they saw all the bans, they knew that they had the potential to pick the Thresh here. So they immediately went for the Morgana ban, very heads up, taking that pick off the board, which obviously quite a disastrous counter to the Thresh. But they've actually locked in Tahm Kench here, which is more than likely going to be going top lane. I know Django has played a good bit of the Kench himself. Could be going support, but I don't think Kench support is usually that played anymore. I don't know how good it is, but that is going to be the Thresh like we predicted, going over to Prodigium. And now they just need a mid laner here for Guard, and obviously Guard's champion pool, very significant, likely going to be pulling out one of his many control mage picks. Orianna is a staple of his. I'd say the Orianna Syndra probably his 2 most played in the NTEL, and no surprises there. And now I think all they're missing here is a support, so we'll have to see what they come with.
Oh, the brand lock in. We've seen Fast Runner on this pick absolutely smashing out bot lanes before Job Seekers comes to mind with that pick here. But yeah, it's kind of scary into that Thresh Jhin lane. They have the oppressive the wave control, but as soon as that Thresh lands, a Hawkeye can turn the lane on its head.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think if you're playing into Jhin, you usually want to go for the more tanky, engage-focused supports. Things like the Nautilus, things like the Leona, the Alistar, they all come to mind. But maybe, Fast Runner finding more comfortability on the brand pick here, wanting to lock it in. We'll see if it comes back to bite him, because obviously, Thresh Death Sentence into Flay combined with, the Jhin 4th shot. If you are a squishy champion, can just be absolute death as early as level 2. So really do have to be watching out for this. And I think Fast Runner not getting caught out is going to be a key component to the success and game plan of Youngbloods coming into this game.
Yeah, just honestly, I would have liked to see a sort of different direction from Youngbloods. I know they're an incredibly aggressive team, but when you draft something like Corki Caitlyn so early on, you've committed so many of your resources to just pure damage. So doubling down on that and picking the brand here is just going all in on just that snowball factor. And if they start falling behind, it's going to be so hard for them to deal with this Kayn here. I honestly would have liked to see Orianna be a different champion as well into that Corki too. Something like the Akali can really heavily punish that. The Akali is just going to get up to that level 6 for free. She's going to go into those team fights, into the Corki Caitlyn and the brand, and just absolutely run a train. Because what do they have to stop something like that Akali pick? A Trundle Pillar, a Tahm Kench knock up if they're lucky. Tahm Kench can basically eat one carry, but he can't eat all 3. So yeah, I would think I was thinking that DC Guard, he's played the Akali before, he's had some highlights on it, that this was the perfect opportunity to bust it out, but maybe some lack of faith in his own ability to play that champion, because obviously if you're having a bad day playing Akali, it's going to show pretty easy with the higher mechanics required to pilot that champ.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it better myself, but I do think that a lot of this game is going to be on the jungle matchup. Asko and Nikchu are usually kind of two very much so kind of pace setters for these teams. Nikchu normally playing the very kind of mobile gank-heavy champions, though, so Trundle is a little bit against his usual style, I suppose, more of a, immobile duelist sort of champion. Whereas, Asko, I mean, he just has an absolute thing for junglers that are just absolutely worthless if they fall behind. Whereas Nikchu is almost the polar opposite. Everything that Nikchu plays is going to be very relevant, whether he's ahead, whether he's behind, it doesn't matter. Whereas Asko, if he has a bad start, he basically just isn't in the game. He loves his Echoes, loves his Lee Sins, loves his Canes now by the looks of things. These are all champions that do struggle if they fall behind, and that has consistently been shown to be one of Destiny's biggest weak points, is that if Asko does have a rough start, the game he played, I can't remember what team it was against, but they locked in a Xin Zhao against his Echo, and the Echo was getting invaded by Xin constantly, completely shut him out of the game, and Asko was just made an absolute feeder of a player and couldn't get anything done, and it caused Destiny to drop one of their only losses of the season to, just some aggressive Jhin play. And I think that has, consistently been, a thorn in Destiny's side. And I want to see if Youngbloods maybe are able to abuse that here on a champion that can definitely be exploited in the early game like Kayn.
Yeah, we have a little bit of time left before the game gets started off, so maybe we'll touch more onto the team composition, but over to the sponsors right now. We should probably give them our shout-outs.
Yeah, definitely. So our sponsors, of course, our major sponsors of this season, as you can see, the Territory Zone Pulls Iced Coffee, who are actually celebrating 60 years here in the Territory, so big happy birthday to them. As well as that, we are proudly sponsored by the Northern Territory Government and McDonald's Group Darwin, who are responsible for the majority of the McDonald's stores in the Darwin and Palmerston area. So these folks up here are what are giving you the majority of your major prize pool that these teams are going to be battling it out for. And as well as that, we've got all of our lovely minor sponsors here, all great local businesses that are helping us out. And of course, you can scan the QR code on screen or head over to the Next Tier Gaming and Esports website if you are competing in the NTEL League this season, and claim some great discounts for yourself at all of these great local businesses. But it is time, and onto the game indeed we go. Things are looking exciting, but Bledex, so my question to you is, how do you think the laning phase itself is looking to fare here?
I think mid lane is going to be a bit of a sleeper fest, unless, honestly, every lane I'm not expecting too much out of, apart from maybe that bot lane Prodigium always playing aggressive. Ardmona feels like so confident when he's playing with Daniel there in the bot lane, so I'm expecting to see Destiny bot lane trying to get some priority straight away. But Gator has shown himself one of the more competent AD carries in the competition, having a great tiebreaker series there, absolutely crucial to Youngblood's success. So I'm expecting to see them swing right back. So he's bot lane's going to be the bloodiest lane. But like you said,
he's
it's
definitely
just all about these junglers.
He's definitely started off as a bit of a substitute player. He came into the Youngbloods lineup a little bit later on, and he absolutely carried them from being what we see here, one of the teams that was maybe middle of the pack, questionable whether they were going to make it out, and then all of a sudden Gator hops on board, and now, here they are, a top 3 team in the tournament, trying to make their way to top 2, and there is only one team standing between them and that is Team Destiny, who, they have their own reasons for trying to battle this out. They've got a lot to prove. They are coming off a defeat from the 2020 season in Grand Finals against your very own Jupi's Angels, looking to come back and be the victor this time, and I know that they're a team that definitely do take their losses very seriously. They, if they made a loss in the group stage, that definitely was a big downer for them, and we saw time and time again that they maybe didn't have the best games because they didn't have Prodigium with them, and obviously Prodigium is just such a star player on this lineup. Constantly, his ability to make bot lane just an absolute slaughterfest, while also putting immense amounts of pressure on the mid and top lane as well. His ability to pressure the entire map completely as a solo support is absolutely unparalleled in this season. So I'm really excited to see exactly what he can bring to this team now that, you know, he is back in the driver's seat of his signature champion, by the way. To anyone who isn't a big follower of the NTEL, Prodigium was basically a Thresh one-trick for a very, very long time. His signature champion that, you know, he would pull out basically every time he was able to. And, you know, he makes this champion look like his Q is a point-and-click sometimes. So definitely going to be exciting to watch.
Yeah, but right now he's going to be playing very careful. I just realized Gator's gone the lethality Caitlyn route, taking that Dark Harvest. Obviously, early game is not going to be too much of an issue, but you can really get caught out by this Caitlyn's damage. I didn't think it would be anything special, but then I played into it myself. And
oh, that's really the level 2. Flash forward into the double flay. They find the death sentence onto Gator. The root connects. The ignite is dropped, but unfortunately, not quite enough damage on that all in. But that is going to be flash off this Caitlyn, which is absolutely huge here when you're playing a comp like this.
Yeah, just the pressure you'll get now from dealing all that damage to both members there, both of them about half health. It's now just going to guarantee that all-in success. Oh, he's really looking for a dart. Mona gets caught out here.
They're actually turning it around. He steps on the Yordle snap trap. Fast runner dropping dangerously low, but Ardmona forced to flash away himself. And as we said, you know, the brand stun into those Yordle snap traps are just going to be doing absurd amounts of burst damage. They really do have to watch out they don't overstep.
Yeah, they do have to watch out, because right now Trundle is on his way. They've burned basically every summoner apart from that Jin's flash, and he's going to need it here to guarantee he doesn't die, but they really should be targeting the Thresh without a flash here. Looks like they're committing Ardmona. Next year the flash for his own. He's not getting out, and that is already
that is the Piltover Peacemaker, but coming through, here comes Guard with the TP. They're looking for Gator as first target. He goes down. Nikchu, the auto attacks are coming through from this Orianna, the Flay passive to finish him off. Death Sentence going a little bit too far. Fast Runner trying to run for his life now in a 1v2 situation, kiting forward. DST Guard with a very aggressive flash though sets up the kill, and Prodigium flaying him into his own demise, and that is going to be an excellent rotation from the Destiny lineup to put themselves 2 kills ahead at only 3 minutes into this match.
Yeah, but it should have been something that was punished there. Artur playing so greedy, holding on to that teleport, just telling his team to get out, but really he could have just thwarted any plans there from Destiny by just dropping his own TP, but the wave spot was not favorable for him. He tries to get a freeze near his turret, it doesn't work out, so now he's pushing it in, but here we go, Hardmona here to pick up the wave mid lane, so Destiny have basically lost nothing off of that play, and all they have for Youngblood side is just a TP advantage in the mid lane now, but a Corki TPing in is not that scary, so looking pretty good for Destiny here off of that early rotation play. And yeah, just a crucial error from Artur, I think, straight up there.
Yeah, we do have about 200 seconds left on the package, unfortunately, but, you know, when Corki does get that package online, his roams are some of the best of any mid laner in the game, but it definitely comes off quite late. But here we go, 3-man gang. Prodigium nearly making the flash prediction, and as we said, this player, such a proficient player of the Thresh pick, barely misses there, so unfortunate, but that is going to be the flash out of the Corki mid lane, and if there's one thing about Prodigium, that is going to be something that he will abuse in the coming minutes.
Yeah, he just is off by a hair there onto Artur, and that would have been absolutely game-ending there. Just not even physically for the gold state or anything, but just mentally, I don't know how you'd recover from that as Artur. But he ends up getting out just there. He's still scaling up on that Corki. He's gone tier and he's gone cull here. He's really looking to scale up, but still, his team can't fall too behind in the interim. If he keeps letting roams like that happen from DST Guard, I don't think the scaling of the Corki will matter as much.
It's disastrous too, right? Because DST Guard committed his TP to go for a very early roam. He was out of lane for quite some time, and yet he's still up in CS in this mid lane one-on-one. You look at the gold, obviously he's sitting at a very comfortable lead, but in comes Nikchu, looking to get a little something done, but unfortunately Guard well positioned there to get himself out to safety, ends up avoiding the pillar. But as I was saying, he is currently sitting very comfortably ahead with several thousand gold at only the 6-minute mark, and hang on, Nikchu really looking to get aggressive in this mid lane.
Yeah, normally Orianna's pretty susceptible to abilities like that Trundle pillar, but taking the phase rush as most control mages would is gonna keep him a lot safer from those Trundle ganks, even if he ends up getting caught out by a pillar somewhat. If he's able to proc that phase rush, he'll basically just run straight past that pillar with the slow resistance. So he's not playing too afraid of Nikchu right now, and it's showing off, and Artur is just getting
Artur is just getting solo killed there in the mid lane. Unfortunately, does not respect the level 6 all-in. Command Shockwave comes through, and that is a nice and easy pickup. But one thing that I'm finding interesting is obviously this top lane. Django finding himself very comfortable in this Na one-on-one, and you would normally think, you know, Tahm Kench, you know, tanky, immobile, slow character like this would absolutely get bullied by something like the Na. He would just get wailed on by those auto attacks. But, you know, we're seeing him actually hold his ground quite well, and this is something that we talked about a little bit earlier with Prodigium as a player. Loves those top roams, loves getting around the map, comes up there, checks himself out, sees if he can find a bit of a kill, can't find anything, backs, now he's heading towards bot side, looking for a little something down there, but good heads up play by Youngbloods do actually predict the roam, and they're able to get the dragon. Aceco nearly finding the steal, but unfortunately not quite, is forced to flash out.
Gator picking that one up. Nixu himself didn't have his smite available there, so I didn't realize how risky that dragon was there. Asuko almost picks it up, but to even go for that play, he's got a big pair on him, I'll tell you that much. Looks like Django's going all in onto
going very aggressive here. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Fast Runner finds himself getting rooted up by Ardmona. Full shot comes through with the Ignite, and that's going to be a nice, quick, and easy kill onto Fast Runner. Meanwhile, back in the top side, Jimbo Baggins looking to run for his life. Django landing the slows, but the hop comes through, getting the Na out to safety. That is going to be a lot of pressure, though, on that young little Yordle up in the top side. He's going to have to back off. Here we go, though. Curtain call comes through from Jin. They're looking for the shots onto Gator. 1 misses, 2 misses, 3 misses, 4 misses. Goodness me, Gator with the fancy feet, and Ardmona needing to turn his monitor on a little bit there. Oh, but here we go, looking for the dive.
Look at the proactive play coming out of Destiny. Prodigium has to be slightly careful, but so do you, Fast Runner, stepping
Oh, that root still landed! Fast Runner! He is going to get melted down there. They commit the command Shockwave, but it's not even needed. In comes Nikchu, though, does land the pillar onto DST Guard. 2 levels down, though. I'm not sure if you have the damage, my friend, to melt through that health bar. And you have to really watch out in this game 1. A reminder, folks, this is the semi-finals. This is a best-of-3 series. So they do have a game that they can drop here against Destiny and still be in the running to win. It's just going to be a matter of having to make the adjustments in game 2, because this is looking like a disastrous start right now for the Youngbloods lineup. They find themselves at a 3k gold deficit at only 9 minutes into the game, 6 kills to 1, and overall every single lane basically being up in CS. So very scary right now, but, you know, we did talk about this in the draft phase, and that is Youngblood's draft looking to be much more of a scaling sort of composition in the first place. They're looking to make a bit of a play onto the Rift Herald here. Jimbo Baggins going forward, does land the Na onto Django. Death Sentence gonna connect. He looks to try and get himself out with the Abyssal Voyage. Is able to do so, but the slows from Jimbo Baggins are relentless. Forced to flash over the wall. Aceco, though, a little bit hungry. Gonna keep chasing. Ends up deciding to call his chase a little bit short, as DST Khan has to watch out. Very low in the mid lane here, but they are looking for Artur. In comes Prodigium. He finds himself the kill. DST Khan getting punished for being so greedy, and that is going to be a nice pickup for Artur in the mid lane.
Yeah, that's a disgusting shutdown to be giving over to a Corki. Corki was basically out of this game, but that's going to put him right back into the conversation of who's going to carry here. And yeah, a critical error like that might end up biting them. They still have a significant lead here, but they didn't even use that. They rotated over to try help the mid laner, but he just died over. They didn't end up picking the Herald here, so Destiny that's just a straight up lost play for them. And yeah, off the back of a small mechanical error from DST Guard, Artur is going to be looking pretty happy with that one, and I'm thinking next time the package comes around, we're going to see this Corki start to take off a bit more. Yeah, he's going an interesting build. I haven't really been keeping up with the Corki builds, as I haven't been playing mid lane as much, but rushing shield bow I don't think has ever been traditional. It's definitely the more defensive side of things. Normally you want to be picking up one of those Sheen items. Divine Sundra comes to mind. It's an okay item, but after the nerfs, people have started to look the way of Essence Reaver Rush again. And yeah, it's just the shield bow is by no means a bad item, but yeah, super defensive. And
Nikchu actually thieving away the blue buff. DST Guard looking to try and grab him here. Great flash from Nikchu, though, is able to get himself out of the command Shockwave, but Aceco understandably very mad that this troll has stolen the way of his blue buff. Pops the ulti, trying to chase him down here. Does miss the slow. And Aceco, my goodness, land your spells, man. He is probably going to let Nikchu live with that blunder, but Prodigium finds himself a nice little death sentence onto Artur here. He might have bitten off more than he can chew. Does have to be careful. The Guardian proc comes through to keep him alive a little bit longer, as Artur chucking those rockets over the wall, and Nikchu and Prodigium both end up living by some miracle.
Yeah, that was almost disaster for Jim. The big one was sidestepped just in time there. Artur not hitting home with the biggest rocket there. Otherwise, it would have been another kill going over to the way of that Corki. And you don't want to be giving him too much. He's starting to come online. Cull completed in 6 minions there. His tier is stacking up. He's starting to really scale here. And Corki is no slouch when it comes to a team composition like this. He could start dropping bodies. They're front and center. But I want to highlight how well Ardmona's doing. For a 1v2 lane, he's basically been put in. Jin, like we talked about, has that good wave control, so he's able to just drop Qs on that wave under tower, make sure he's picking up that farm, while he's also allowing Prodigium to walk across this map and just pressure all the lanes.
Yeah.
But
absolutely. One thing that I definitely do feel is Youngbloods had an advantage here in the bot side with this Dragon coming up, but Destiny have been a little bit more heads up about the fact that Dragon is spawning, and they've walked in, they've set up vision, and they've completely sweeped out all of those wards that Youngbloods had set up in that bot side river, and now they're looking for the Drake objective. A little bit of a scuffle going on in the top side here, but real eyes are going to be on this Dragon. It does look like Destiny are just going to take that one with no real arguments.
yeah, there's a little bit of scuffle. Prodigium landed a hook onto fast run, and he dropped down pretty low there, but doesn't look like anyone committed to that play. And yeah, they are just going to walk away from that Dragon. But yeah, Django had something going for himself, but he's been focusing very heavily on these trades, I noticed. But it's actually not really benefiting him because he hasn't found too much pressure, and the CS gap's getting bigger.
That's a lot of damage onto Ardmona. The brand passive comes through. Death Sentence to try and peel a little bit
Caitlyn
of
ult's
distance.
available. He just doesn't have the mana, unfortunately. Caitlyn, oh, that's so tragic for him. That would have been an easy pickup. Prodigium completely split off there from his AD carry. It would have been the easiest ace in the whole.
Oh, in comes
ever.
Aceco though. Flash into Flay. The box comes down. Gator has nowhere to run. Tries to look for the fancy play onto Ardmona. Unfortunately, the damage not quite enough. Does force out the heal from the Jin though. But here comes Django, the big frog. Unbench the Kench. One more auto attack will do the trick for the ultimate. Death Sentence connects onto Nikchu. They've got 2 under the tower right now. The brand passives doing the most it can. Outspits the Kane. Kane going into Django. They're just going inside of each other right now. What is happening? The TP comes through from DST Guard. A little bit late, but better than ever. Django is going to be the first target. Command Shockwave is going to do the trick. They're trying to chase down this frog, but he's just a little bit too tanky. Ardmona does have to watch out. He's sitting very, very low under this tower right now, and Nikchu is lurking around. The curtain call is going to connect one shot onto Nikchu. The death sentence going to be next to follow up from Prodigium as DST Guard finishes it off, and that is going to be Nikchu getting a one-way trip back to the fountain. But Destiny, you know, it was looking bad for them for a moment. The ace in the hole finally comes through. Ardmona gets caught getting a little greedy, walking up, forgets that the Caitlyn was still alive, and that is going to be a nice and easy pickup for Gator.
I was gonna say that play goes heavily into Destiny's favor, but with that shutdown under Gator's belt there, that is a huge turnaround of something that should be noticed. Is Artur playing very greedy again, but this time not as heavy a punish. He ended up getting a decent amount of plates in that mid lane, as you can see that health, and his team basically traded it even into that bot side. So that's actually a pretty positive play there for Youngbloods. It doesn't really reflect there into the gold, but just take notice that Orianna wasn't getting any XP. Artur was farming at that mid lane, and now this Corki's
might have this tower
probably
here.
just caught it up.
It's going to be first tower of the game going over the way of Youngbloods.
Yeah, it looks like they're finding turnarounds for themselves in their own little ways as Corki is starting to get big. He's looking to build towards that Metamune. Gator's sitting on a lot of gold here, but DSC found this Herald, but right now Youngblood's going to back and be stronger than ever.
Yeah, it was not actually first tower of the game. It does look like they were able to snag top side. Nah was able to get a little bit of split pushing done while Django was split off in the bot side with that teleport.
Oh yeah, that is something I did miss though. While Django came down to, I believe Jimbo Bagan just stayed top and City stat top, so maybe it is a little bit in Destiny's favor. Aceco is so low from this red buff.
Aceco needs to watch out. Ace in the hole coming through with the package. An absolute overkill onto this Kane. They find a definite kill, and Prodigium has to watch out. He's a little bit far up right now, trying to use the fancy feat, trying to use the Hex Flash to get himself out of this situation.
Is she going to cut him off in time? That was just a terrible collapse onto a free kill there. Gator seemed to know that Prodigium is in the jungle, but the team wasn't responding at all, and he ends up just walking his way out of certain death there with nowhere to run to. Pretty mind-blowing, but he ends up escaping there. Jimbo Baggins on his lonesome in this bot side is going to get more sieging done for his team. And yeah, pretty positive play, but looks like we have figured out what Aceco is planning to do with this blue cane. It's not going to be the traditional Gore Drinker build that we usually see under Kane this season, and it is going to be back to that Assassin Kane of old. Artur
Oh, big command shockwave. Artur, the blood shield, or the shield bow is going to pop, should I say. Artur is going to die to the Shadow Assassin Kane. Artur should be next to follow, though. One more bounce should do the trick, and yes, so there it is. And they're just going to go for 1-for-1 there. Mid laner for jungler. Definitely don't think that is worth, but I do find it interesting that we've actually seen Kane go for the lethality blue Kane route this game against, you know, the Trundle, against the Tahm Kench. We'll have to see if that's going to come back to bite them later, as they maybe, you know, since they do have a Jhin 80 carry and, you know, this Kane has gone blue, if they just don't have enough damage to deal with some of these tanks.
Yeah, they might not be able to deal with the tank, but I can certainly tell you they can deal with those carries right now. Nichu looking for a play, but it doesn't really matter if the tanks are unkillable if the backline is just getting dived here. I think they know what their focus is going to be for Azuko here, and he's going to be targeting down so many of these squishy carries. Right now they have literally nothing to deal with him. No stopwatch, just nothing on the side here, so it's really praying that this brand can find that stun onto this blue Kane. Otherwise he's definitely going to be picking up one of these carries here. It's almost nothing they can do if he's able to land all his skills, but that remains to be seen from Azuko, who's had a little bit of a shaky game with his skill shots so far. Hopefully he can pick up in the team fights, because that's when his blue Kane will really shine. Nichu actually finds Jimbo Baggins here, trying to catch him out. Nice jump out of danger there. Holds onto that till the pillar gets dropped here. But right now, this is where, you know, Youngbloods have scaled up a little bit. Caitlyn has that lethality online. Corki is doing pretty well for himself, so they can really have this team fight work out for them. But
yeah, this is a big curtain call here. They might actually find Nichu before the fight's even started. Jimbo Baggins going to be finishing that one off. But look at the damage from Artur. This Corki has scaled. Hold on, though. Massive command shockwave does connect onto the backline of Youngbloods. They find themselves fast runner to Django. Next one to follow. Ace in the hole is going to find Prodigium off in the back. But whether or not that is going to be enough for Youngbloods to find themselves footing in this fight is going to be up for debate. They don't have vision in this bush. And Ardmona is waiting for the shot over the wall. Flash forward, looking for Gator. The auto attack Q will do the trick. Artur gonna trade it back in his favor, but that is gonna be Destiny finishing off the Dragon. They do grab themselves their second one of the game.
Yeah, that was a crazy team fight front to back there. We saw Asuko, he had such a good angle, he just didn't get his ult off in time. Corki absolutely blew him to pieces there. The split second that he gave him. And yeah, Asuko's got to be making sure he doesn't do that anymore, because this Corki is getting out of hand. He has to be taken down. I believe Corki right now is sitting on the most gold in the game. He's got that completed Manamune. He's got so much value built up right now, and he is the sole carry of Youngbloods. Gator is going to be dealing damage here and there if he finds his angles, but it's not going to be very consistent. He has to find those skill shots, but this Corki is going to be pumping out damage left, right, and center. That should be Destiny's primary focus if they want to win these team fights from now on. We'll see whether Asuko is able to find it.
Definitely Artur does have to watch out. Command Shockwave comes through, and that's going to be a very dead Corki. Asuko, though, the damage just as severe on his department. 2 and 5 on this blue Kane right now. And, you know, as we said, Asuko not the player that's very good on this Destiny lineup when playing from the behind position. Fast Runner getting caught out again. The catch potential on this Destiny lineup really showing its limits, but whether or not Gator is going to be able to do much with this lethality Caitlyn lineup when also playing from behind is going to be up for debate. Bit of a scuffle coming out here, though. Nichu doing his best to tank through all of these auto attacks coming the way of Jimbo Baggins. A couple more will do the trick. Does go Mega, though. Will he find the Q over the wall? Yes, he will. And now they're looking for more. Nara's going to connect on to Django. He's stunned up for what seems like a millennia. Is going to flash away. Ardmona looking to get very aggressive onto Gator here. Does have one level advantage. Curtain Call comes through. They're both very low here. This could be big, but in comes Artur with the package. Finds one. Nearly finds two. The shield bow pops. He gets Prodigium. Look at the damage out of this Corki. Oh my goodness. And that is going to be Youngbloods turning around what looked like a disastrous situation thanks to their mid laner.
Yeah, I gotta say that fight was way closer than it should have been, with Artur being out from the get-go, but he comes in right at the end. Gator was stalling so well on that Caitlyn. He was caught out in so many situations. I thought he'd just instantly die, but he sidestepped some crucial skill shots from that Orianna, plays well around the blue Kane, and he lives to tell another tale there. Gator was piloting that Caitlyn beautiful for the position he's in. He doesn't have that much gold, but if he's able to pilot up, pick up some more gold on this Caitlyn, I think he's going to absolutely destroy us.
Oh no, Fast Runner is just going to get evaporated by Blue Cane. Aceco, though, going to get done much the same by Artur. It does flash over the wall, but whether or not he's going to be able to get out is up for debate. Django does get him with the shield, but unfortunately, here comes Ardmona to finish him off, and both of them are going to go down. So that's 3 clean kills going the side of Team Destiny. I can't help but feel like that is going to be Baron in the bag.
They've been swinging back and forth so much, but Destiny has been keeping this 3-4k gold lead basically the entire game off that early play. They've been just playing so coordinated. Each time they slip, they make another good play to get right back in it. We see it right there. The teamwork comes through, but they gotta be careful. This Caitlyn is lethality. You see how much damage she's putting out if you step onto that trap. Prodigium almost gets 2-shot. And we can see how much damage this pick does.
Oh, the flash into the Pyroclasm here. What a play. They do find Fast Runner. And unfortunately, Gator is going to get caught out here by the looks of things. He's so low, trying to kite around the best he can. Curtain Call comes through, and that's going to be enough to finish him off. And now to Django in a 1 versus 5. Triple kill for Ardmona. Looking to make it a quadra. Yes, indeed. And now Artur is all that stands between him and a pentakill. And we can't help but feel like maybe they'll get a little bit greedy for it, but it does look like they're going to not do that. They're just going to back off, look to set up for this Baron.
Not on theme if the Jin gets the pentakill there. Of course he's going to stop at 4, and they're going to just go for that big purple worm instead there. But yeah, we're starting to see Youngbloods come apart here. They're getting super desperate, and it is very obvious here, just making teleport plays like that with the time pinch. Usually after you see the fight go bad, you just concede it, but they just keep trying to make those miracle plays to come back into it. And looks like Artur's taking his turn here.
Artur actually does find himself a kill, but unfortunately it's not enough to stop them from getting the Baron. I think maybe his idea there was to just try and go for some kind of a play to get them off of the Baron until the rest of his team can arrive, but does end up only drawing a few attentions. Finds himself Ardmona, but it is at the cost of his own life, unfortunately.
Yeah, and now with this Baron in their pocket, they are going to be looking to just absolutely smash this game wide open. Right now, the gold lead is at a whopping 7,000. That Jin is absolutely massive. That Orianna is absolutely massive here. And there's not too many champions that can answer it. Really, it is all on the back of that Corki, but with so many threats, I'm not seeing a Corki be able to do everything on his own here. So yeah, we'll just see whether Youngbloods can stall out this Baron, because if they aren't, I'm thinking this game is going to be over very swiftly.
Yeah,
looks like they're not gonna...
maybe getting a little bit too greedy. Does have to watch out. I gotta say, I just have not been impressed with this Trundle pick this game. I feel like it just hasn't done anything.
Yeah, honestly, some of the plays he was making in the early game made sense. It's just Artur has not been playing around his team. He's been playing very selfishly, and it's sort of paid off. But you might wonder, what would this game look like if Artur had sacrificed those mid waves, burned that TP down bot, and just ensured that Gator hadn't gone behind here, because he's been doing wonders on this Caitlyn from behind. If he had been at an even state, or let alone ahead.
In comes Jimbo Baggins, looks for the Gnar, and that's going to be Nikchu. Basically dying before the fight's even started. Django giving up his own life to try and save him. DST Guard goes gold in the middle of 3 members of the enemy lineup. He is going to get melted down by Artur in the end. Death Sentence going to connect onto Corki. Will he go down? No, he won't. Ace in the hole should finish off Ardmona here. No, Aceco's going to get the body block with the brand passive. Going to finish him off anyway. And now Aceco very, very low, forced to run away. And that is somehow going to be a 1-team fight for the side of Youngbloods.
7,000 gold down, they do it, and I think it was heavily off the back of that brand, landing so many huge passive procs onto the side of Destiny, clumping up. And Artur, of course, he was playing selfishly, but it pays off there. He had the gold to heavily punish them. He positioned perfectly, and he just dropped so much damage that team fight onto Destiny, and they were not ready for it, obviously, as they go down there and lose Baron. And all of a sudden, the gold lead's back to where it was, 4,000. There was 7,000 gold down, but now this Baron play is just hugely into the negatives.
It's Aceco's flash, actually, that they've just burnt by the looks of things, but Fast Runner has to watch out here as DST Guard, very scary on this Orianna right now. So much damage out of him, but yeah, no, that's one thing about Corki, right? Corki and Azir are kind of the 2 mid laners in this game that just have a very nonchalant, non-factor laning phase. They don't really do anything. Azir and Corki in lane can't really kill you. They can just kind of be annoying and poke you, and that's about it. but they are just scaling monsters, right? When they get their items online, Corki and Azir will just turn a game in their favor, like absolute monstrosities with just raw damage output from the backline. And we're seeing Artur do that right now. He's getting that stage. He's got the rapid fire cannon. He's got the Essence Reaver. You know, it's all online now, and all he's looking to finish off here is that Infinity Edge, I would imagine. And then after that, this Corki is just going to be doing insanely huge crits. Death Sentence, though, connecting onto Fast Runner. No follow-up. Was looking a little bit scary there for a moment.
Something underrated on Corki is taking over to that level 16. I'm not sure of the scaling off my head, but it does go up by like a whopping like 50% extra scaling or something when you tick over to that level 16. It is absolutely disgusting how much damage your rockets start doing after this point. And yeah, it is going to be very obvious as soon as he hits a big one onto one of the carriers here, just how dangerous Corki can be at that level 16. But yeah, like you said, here he's not at that full build. Once he secures that Infinity Edge crit, I think he's absolutely just going to be assassinating Zuko. He'll be scared to come next to him as that blue cane even. But yeah, you maybe start to wonder, maybe all this Asuko should be doing on this pick is picking up that Gore Drinker and just running Disruption, just buy time, because even though you don't have that one-shot potential, you're super annoying as that blue cane. You can poke them, you can slow them, you can get a bunch of damage down without them being able to do too much because you just go inside them. And you have the opportunity to make mistakes with that Gore Drinker and heal back up and just be just super annoying, super mobile. And just super not fun jungler to deal with. He's gone the one-shot route, and he has to play perfectly.
Mona looking to chase down Django here. The root is going to connect, but no follow-up there. And that's just going to be Destiny cleaning up another tier 3 of this game. And honestly, they have all the tier 3s, but I feel like the objective's only 3 towers behind. And it's pretty even across the map here. I feel like Youngbloods aren't super behind in terms of objectives this game, which, you know, if you've been looking at how it's going, right, 10 kills behind at the 28-minute mark, it does feel like they should be more behind than they are, but this team is just somehow so proficient at playing these kinds of matches.
Yeah, they have somehow bleed out a decent amount of gold here, but I don't think it matters too much because this Corki is just worlds ahead of everyone else here, and if they're not able to find that kill, he's easily going to show how much value that gold has on that Corki. So the gold lead doesn't really mean too much.
Actually very close to this Infinity Edge. If you look at how much gold he's got sitting there, I do believe it's about 2100 to finish it off, and he is sitting at only 300 gold or so away from grabbing that. So this Corki will be coming online very soon. I actually went back and got the Guardian Angel instead of the IE, which I kind of quite like here.
I think, yeah, he's just planning for this Baron fight that is upcoming here. It's basically all or nothing. I think they're looking to contest this, and having that extra lifeline is going to help him, especially if he's going to make a crazy play with the package here. Well, if he finds out Asuko's there, he could absolutely blow him up. He has to be careful.
Yeah, he does have the package. They have to watch out for this. It's going to be all eyes on Django, more than likely to engage. You know, this Tahm Kench, she is 0-5. Not the tankiest of frogs, but definitely tanky enough to get things done. He's quite close to his Randuin's Omen here as well.
Yeah, looks like both teams are scared to make moves. Destiny isn't even there. Youngbloods is still scared. The vision just isn't there for them to walk in. So there's still so much respect going over to both teams, but I feel like they really should be playing off this Corki package. It's not going to last too long for them. And the odds of them winning the fight go down tremendously without it. So
he just goes forward like a psychopath right now. Gets a ton of damage onto Jimbo Baggins. Doesn't actually get punished for it at all, should I say. And yeah, that's one thing about Destiny here, right? Is they don't have to commit to this Baron. Oh my goodness, Fast Runner gets caught out by the command Shockwave. Pops the Zhonya's almost immediately. Artur, though, is in the back line doing the damage. Prodigium popping that Shirelias to get them out to safety. Death Sentence looks to go wide against Artur. A bit of a wild prediction there, but it does end up grabbing that quite satisfactorily. But they are going to look towards this Baron now. Destiny do have to respond. I was going to say, you know, Destiny do not have to make moves very quickly here, as they are on Soul Point. They can just wait for the dragon to spawn and have their win con that way. But here comes Artur, looking to try and get things done. Nikchu is actually going to bounce him over the wall. He is very, very low. Artur, though, still alive. He's going to be the player to watch. Fast Runner is going to die, but not after getting his ulti off. The damage maybe already been done. God! Coming in huge! Flashing forward! Massive! massive command attack finds itself onto 2. Artur is going to get finished off there. The Guardian Angel going to be procced. The respawn coming through. Will Ardmona be able to finish off this Corki? We'll have to wait and see. This is going to be a game-deciding 1v1. Artur currently running for his life, trying to get himself a little bit of distance between the Jhin and himself. Jhin deciding to back off, not going to walk up to the bush, but he's actually just trying to TP out. Command attack. Sorry, Command Shockwave going to be coming back off cooldown from Guard to cancel the TP in the bush. And that is going to be Destiny coming in with a massive Baron turnaround, and they are going to be the ones to claim the worm.
Yeah, unfortunately for the side of Youngbloods, they found some crucial just harass onto the enemy side of Destiny, but they harassed both targets that had teleport available. So it just doesn't give them much pressure at all, because all they need to do is just teleport back into that fight. That's exactly what Guard did, and we saw what Guard was able to do because he was full health. Absolutely demolishes them, flashing forward, finding that double kill to instantly turn the fight. And he's not even full build yet. This Orianna is almost out of control.
Just laughing at the fast feeder memes that are being put in chat right now.
Yeah, unfortunately that's what you got to do at Brand. He's looking for just these ult opportunities, and a lot of the time they don't present themselves unless he has to die for it. He's flashed forward for a lot of these ults, guaranteeing he gets the damage down, and I think that's the right way to be playing it. But it's not going to look good for your scoreline if the team don't pick up the assists.
Definitely Kamikaze Brand can do some work for sure if you're not careful. I'd like to see him, grab the Demonic Embrace, even double down on all that burn damage, because I do feel like just having the Demonic Embrace is going to be very good with how he's playing, because if you get all of those resists from the big AoE spells hitting everybody, it just makes you much harder to kill. But Nick Chu has to watch out here. He's actually going to get caught in the death sentence. Command Shockwave comes through. Now there's going to be so much damage onto Nick Chu. He's just going to get absolutely deleted. In comes Jimbo Baggins! Massive Gnar! Finds itself onto 3. Gator is the only one left. He finds Prodigium, but it's not going to mean anything. Quadra kill coming through for Ardmona. And that looks like it is going to be game for Team Destiny.
Yeah, there's something about Destiny and Gnar players, man. It's just Destiny in the past, in the grand finals, have found some incredible Gnar ults. I believe at the start of the last season too, they found an insane Gnar ult. And yeah, at the end of this semi-finals game 1, a Gnar ult to finish it all off. It looks like Youngbloods don't even give them the
does look like Spectator has crashed, but obviously they were about to win this game, so we're just gonna throw it over to our game 2 here and have a little bit of a look-see. But definitely, what a great game 1. I'm so excited to see how they turn this one around.
Yeah, that was incredibly close, honestly, for a game that looks like it was spiraling out of control from the get-go. But there were some crucial errors made by Youngbloods that I feel like they need to fix. Artur had a great game there, but unfortunately, I feel like the errors he made early on set his team up for failure. And he did a good job with the cards he was given, but he should have been playing around his team more. And I think if he's able to do that, we might see a much closer game. Because we saw Destiny were playing around each other perfectly. They were roaming around as 5. Prodigium was all over the map. Asuko was trying to contest all these objectives. They're playing perfectly as a unit. And if Youngbloods aren't able to match, I don't think we're going to see them take it. Selfish play can only get you so far from Artur. Once he hit that full build, he is just capped. And meanwhile, the rest of Destiny were just scaling up. And we see just they have so many threats. DST Guard, Ardmona, Jimbo Baggins, Prodigium, and Asuko had his moments there. But yeah, you can't 1v5 when we're at this high level of play. So I hope that Youngbloods are going to get their team play together and we can see an exciting game 2.
Yeah, and you'll just have to stick around and find out whether or not Youngbloods are going to be able to bounce back in this best-of-3 series. They definitely showed some signs of life there. Artur, the player to watch on this Corki. But we'll have to just wait and see whether or not they're going to be able to turn things around. I do believe Nick Chu, one of the bigger factors there, as 2-7 on this Trundle, but I said it in Champ Select, it's not the type of champion he's normally known for. He plays, those hyper-mobile ganking threats like the Sejuani, like the Zac, where he's basically just an engaged CC bot for his team. Something like the Trundle, that immobile sort of character, not something that we're normally seeing him be proficient on. So hopefully he can be on a bit of a champion that has some more comfortability. And obviously we talked about in draft, we saw the Jhin first pick there. Obviously Django's most comfortable tank by far is Ornn. And you do want to draft a tank top laner into something like the Jhin so you can just have a frontline threat, because Jhin is very bad at dealing with tanks. And then normally, you're unkillable against the Jhin if you are ahead on the tank. But, he had to pick the Frog because he waited until after first pick phase to try and go for a top lane pick. Didn't draft the Ornn, which you're more than comfortable blinding. And as a result, the Ornn just got banned out in phase 2, and he was forced onto something a little bit less comfortable like this Tahm Kench. And, he definitely didn't have a bad game, but it definitely could have been a lot better. There was a lot to be desired there. So I feel like, identifying like, okay, if they do take the Jhin first pick again, potentially, then, the answer has to just be like that immediately Ornn lock in, immediately, try and look for the Zac or the Sejuani, those, tanks that you are comfortable on, rather than, this kind of Tahm Kench Trundle lineup that, maybe just doesn't have as much comfortability, and it showed in these games. But whether or not they're able to make those adjustments, we'll just have to wait and see in game 2. And we're going to go over to a quick break while we set that one up, folks. Don't go anywhere.
be back. Yeah, we are back, guys. Bit early, guys, a bit of ahead of ourselves. There was some heated banter back and forth, and then we've just gone right into it. But yeah, Youngbloods finding themselves onto the blue side here, banning out Ardmona's champ pool again. I wonder if the Jin ban's going to get chucked in as well, because no, we're seeing
I could do better.
I wonder if it is Nichu, because back in Season 1, Artur was notorious for playing this champion. He loved his Elise, and he would just hit the craziest of flash cocoons left, right, and center, picking up kills for his team. He had an extremely aggressive Elise, and I understand that Nichu's quite aggressive himself, but this hasn't traditionally been his champion. He's usually picking these tanky champs. You know, they have a lot of setup, but they don't necessarily deal all the damage. He usually just sets up for his team, but this is a very, very self-sufficient like solo carry pick on the Elise, and I'm wondering how well he can pilot it if it does end up going towards Nichu, because just I feel like it has the same problem as that lethality Caitlyn. You know, if it gets snowballing, everything's fine in the world, but if this Elise falls behind into this Diana Orianna, it's just the team fights are just doomed for the Youngbloods. I think it is a Nivea favorite. A lot of the time she does deal with these mobile control mages pretty well, just because she can just block off their path of escape, drop the ult on them, and they have to just live or die by dodging that Q, but it's never really a win-win. But Orianna can fight back a little, being able to disrupt the snowstorm with that shockwave, but normally it is a lot more favored towards that Nivea. She has everything superior apart from just the mana issues that she does deal with, and if Nichu's sending blue buffs the way of Artur, I can see this going the way of Nivea. But yeah, it doesn't really pick off until that level 6 there, so Orianna has a little bit of time. Yeah, so a bit of target bans onto Django and a bit of target bans onto Jimbo Baggins. I believe Jimbo Baggins has played Gnar like the last 5 games. I swear he's been on the Gnar, and he's shown himself. He's really good at that champion, but he's also kind of renowned for his Yorick in that top lane, which has been left up here. So I wonder if they've got an answer for it, because yeah, I think Django didn't really like it in the past.
I just realized I've been muted on stream this whole time. Well, the thing about Yorick is that, you know, he can't land 4-man Nas, can he?
But he can definitely just tear your side lane to shreds, and I think that is what they are aiming for here. They've got enough team fight on their own right. If they have this split push threat that goes unanswered by Django here, it's going to be a nightmare to play around. So we're wondering what he's going to pick up in answer to this Yorick, because they had to have seen this coming if they were going to take the nut off the board here. Oh, and it looks like they're doubling down on the team fight, picking up Malphite, just conceding that side lane there. Eventually Yorick is going to outscale, especially when that Maiden gets involved. So much magic damage that Malphite can't really deal with, and they're going to go all in, all the engage on the team fights.
Yeah, I
see.
don't like this pickup. Morgana is still available. You pick Leona here, and you play a Leona Ashe lineup with Morgana here as the last pick for Prodigium. That's just asking for trouble. They go for the set, which is going to be a little bit better if they do go for the Morgana pickup. Definitely heads up to not go Leona there. That would have been so int. They would have just been walking into a Morgana counter pick for sure. And obviously Morgana is probably going to be the pick here anyway. I mean, they have Elise, Anivia, Ashe, Malphite set. Like, every single one of these players has hard CC of some kind. So Morgana just has huge stock, but no, they're going to go for Leona instead. Goodness me, that's definitely not what I would have gone in this game, but I mean, it does make some kind of sense, right? Like, you have the wombo combo potential with the Diana ultimate. She goes in, pops the Moonfall, and then Solar Flare is next to follow, and that is just a massive team-wide stun that you can set up. It also gives you a little bit of kill pressure onto Gator, which, you know, you otherwise might not have, but it does look like this could be Malphite support, which I actually do like. I do think Malph support's quite good, very underrated.
Hold your horses on that line there, because Django is also on the set here. I believe we're just gonna see Django hop over to the support position. I don't really think Malphite support makes too much sense.
This could be Arthur
look at Nixu. Yeah,
in the jungle.
This is what I was talking about. We did confirm prior to the series that you do not have to follow this role selection from the champion side. It just makes things look more aesthetic. But some of these players have multiple roles that they're well practiced in, and of course Arthur on that at least has so much experience in the past. We'll see if that's translated over though, because they are banking it all on these role swaps. Obviously, that top and support can be interchangeable, but Nixu is going to be playing mid lane on that Anivia. And last time he played mid lane, it didn't go so hot for him, so I'm hoping that he's got some more practice in this matchup here.
I just went to check to see if, like, Arthur has any solo queue games this season, and yesterday he played 3 normal games of Corki and lost all of them, with his final Corki game going 2-13, so the absolute gall to pull that out in the semi-finals match, to the confidence to just play it again anyway. Definite respect there. To be fair, though, he was playing Corki jungle by the looks of this, which is interesting in the last couple games. But definitely an interesting one here from Frank. But
yeah, it's gonna be difficult for them. I'd say Team Destiny have completely won out draft here. Yes, they could have gone something like that Morgana just to deny a lot of things, but that is definitely not the Destiny style. They want to go all in. They are going to be diving in with this Diana and this Leona and having the Orianna as your backline. Yorick's in the side lane just causing havoc. And yeah, it's just on Youngbloods to weather the storm here and see whether Arthur can really take things off, because I don't see much playmaking coming out other than that. At least that is the X factor of this game, unless Nixu's able to have a really positive matchup mid. But he's into DSD Guard. He's shown himself one of the best mid laners in this tournament, hands down. He showed it last game too, getting the solo kill. I think he had an MVP performance last game. Obviously, Admona did really well too, but I think it was a lot of team fights were off the back of that Orianna finding huge picks, huge shockwaves, and just delivering across the board with his map rotations.
yeah, so analysis word coming in here. Arthur has not played a ranked game of Elise since Season 9, where he played 1 game, which he did win and did play quite well, but he has not had Elise in his top 3 champions since Season 5, where he managed to have, Elise as his 3rd most played with a very impressive win rate of 70%, 28 wins, 12 losses. So this is definitely an archaic pick for Arthur that he's whipping out here on this semi-final stage. We'll see, if he's really able to get things done with it. Only time will tell. But I mean, whether or not he's going to be able to get some good ganks onto, these champions like Orianna, like Yorick, Ezreal having access to that arcane shift, it's very hard to, land cocoons into solo kills in some of these lanes. I do imagine mid lane is going to maybe be the most explosive, as, landing a cocoon is going to set up Anivia for Anivia stun, and then there's going to just be so much piling on from there, so much burst damage that those 2 champions can pump out. So DST Guard definitely going to have to show a lot of respect in the mid lane. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a cleanse Orianna even.
I feel like Youngbloods have really given themselves no other opportunity but to snowball this game. Destiny have an incredibly good team fighting composition, and if it gets to that point, I don't see any way of them winning. But we have seen that Destiny, they just don't really function as well as a unit from behind. So if the snowball does get going, we might see that weakness exposed. But even right now, you've got to be playing borderline perfect for the side of Youngbloods here, because it's if you're going even, if you're falling behind a little bit, then yeah, these champions like this Elise become so obsolete, and it is the Malphite support that is not going to perform too well outside of just that ultimate. And if you're finding these ultimates but you're so far behind, you're just kind of engaging for the enemy team and just giving over free kills.
Certainly is. Just swapping around the teams is obviously one of the fun factors when a team goes from being blue side to red side. So you have to completely reverse everything on the overlays. But there we go. It's all nice and sorted now for you all. And hop in here to our game 2 of the semifinals between Destiny and Youngbloods. Might look to get a little bit aggressive in this second match, but I think Malphite support is actually quite solid. Obviously, you do just have a ton of poke. You can force a lot of ADCs out of the lane phase just by spamming Q on them. And then obviously once you do hit level 6, your all-in potential is massive. But people really do not respect your ability to just spam cheese wheels at people and do a large amount of damage. Jimbo Baggins actually going to get spotted out on this ward. They will see the Yorick. They will have a flank on him here. There's the stun!
That's a kill.
That is going to be first blood going over to Gator of all people as well.
Yeah, looks like people aren't solid. A lot of these, it's pretty simple to counteract invades if you just follow the simple fan-out strategy. But a lot of teams have not done that. Asiko and Jimbo both going to that river entrance, and he arrives late, so he ends up getting caught out there. A little gap in the armor, and Youngbloods take full advantage and find that kill, but it's actually not going to lead to too much in the laning phase, because obviously that Malphite has a decent amount of poke, but I feel like if you're just going to try and poke an Ezreal or Leona, they're just going to all in you as soon as you step up for that Q, and it's not going to be super easy to win an all-in as that support Malphite early on. Really no value unless you have that level 6 outside of that poke. But hey, Ashe has a little bit more extra mana in the laning phase because of that first blood, but Ashe recently copped a pretty significant early game nerf. Her cooldown on her W went from 14 seconds to 18 seconds. A 4-second increase is no joke.
Regime just getting aggressive right from level 1 here on a fast runner. Actually does lose that trade. That is going to be a winning trade for the side of Team Youngbloods. And I mean, look at the damage onto Ardmona. Again, that was like one cheese wheel with a comet, really, and a few autos from Gator. There's so much damage coming out of this lineup. I definitely do think Malphite support is a little more decent than people credit it for, but there's going to be level 2 on Leona, and you know what happens when Leona hits level 2 and does land that Zenith Blade. That's going to be a quick and easy pickup with the Ignite dropped onto Fast Runner. They don't even commit the heal. Gator holding on to that one, I suppose. Didn't think it would save him.
Yeah, you might have some respect towards this pick. I do not. I think it's absolutely int, and it's extremely obvious there. As like, what does he do outside of that Q cooldown early on? He has literal zero pressure to walk up. It's a bit like that Alistar early, but even worse. Alistar doesn't really come online, and even once you get past that, Prodigium just on a warpath into the mid lane now, trying to punish even further, getting DST guard so much further ahead in this lane than he should be. Just with the roam like that, and already we see the bot lane smashing is leaking over towards that mid lane. But yeah, I just gotta admit that, like, you don't see much value outside of that Malphite. If he's able to win the all-ins, that's great, because he can bring attack speed reductions and the like, but if he's just bringing a Q to the battle, Leona's just gonna hop on him every time. If you don't win the all-in, then it's just a useless pick. And already super worried for this bot lane as a result.
Yeah, I definitely do think the Malphite pick is very good into like enchanters, into things like the Leona. I think its weaknesses definitely do show a lot more. Jango has to watch out here though. Flash forward Q from Jimbo Baggins. That's a solo kill. Meanwhile, in the bot side jungle, we do have Artur getting dropped very low by Asco. Find themselves a nice pickup onto the jungler of Youngbloods. Let me swap these profiles around actually. I think about it.
Yeah. This is already unfortunate. I didn't like this draft coming in, and it's already fallen apart. Let's be honest. This Youngbloods team isn't practiced with these roles already. Just Artur contesting 1v2 for that scuttle. He does not care. His mid lane was not there, and he still sees both enemy champions. Just goes for it. He's too aggressive for his own good. Ends up getting super punished, and now he's playing that Elise from behind, and that's what we were worried about already. Django in the top lane here, put into that uncomfortable matchup. He's getting punished super hard. And yeah, Fast Runner, I don't know what he's going to do. Normally I enjoy Fast Runner on this support, but playing something like the Malphite, it doesn't matter if you're Core JJ or one of the best supports in the world, you're playing Malphite, and you're not going to have an impact to that level 6, and even then you're one button, so there's not many.
Yeah, but that one button is real good.
I don't think it's good enough if you're falling behind though. Normally, you can bring a lot more to the table as a tank Malphite, but as a support you just don't have that stat line. Looks like he's trying to set up for Arthur coming to the bot lane. We'll see if they can get it.
Yeah, Prodigium does have Flash available. Cocoon connects onto Ardmona. Looking for Prodigium here. He is going to get taken down. Meanwhile, on the top side, Django finding himself caught out a little bit too far up the laning phase. Does have that Flash available if he so chooses. Pops it a little bit late, and Aceco unfortunately does have the dash to follow up, but you know, you give and you take on both sides, and Youngblood's coming out ahead in the bottom side, and Gator finding himself 1-0-1 on this Ashe.
Yeah, and it's basically the one hope. Nikshu is not doing too bad in the mid lane, but he's already falling behind as we speak, and yeah, hopefully he can turn things around once he hits that level 6, find some crucial picks onto that Orianna, because right now this Diana is absolutely massive, and there's not too many champions that can deal with her really well. She's gonna find her way onto that Anivia in the team fights. Once someone's on top of you as Anivia, you lose that action.
Oh my god! Prodigium! Absolute fancy feat just there.
Yeah, it's looking pretty bad. There's no way to sugarcoat it. They find that kill on the bot lane, but I'm surprised Prodigium didn't burn his flash down there. I feel like he could have escaped from that game quite easily, because past the Malphite Q, what do they really have? Arthur was so far away, he probably could have just gone out to safety, but ends up going down, but still this bot lane is still heavily into that Azure's favor. And yeah, Fast Runner's nowhere near that level 6 power spike that he needs to be at if he wants to start making plays for his team.
I have to wait and see.
Yeah, a bit of a lull here in the game. Looks like Prodigium is still camping out near that mid lane. Still really wants to punish Nikshu. Isuko also playing with his support here. But Nikshu, thankfully, is getting passed off a blue. He's not going to be in the way of danger. They're wasting their time here. But this seems to be a common thing that Destiny is pulling off. They pick a safe character for Ardmona, and they just have him 1v2 a lot of the time, and he's never getting punished for it. A lot of the time in the 1v2, you know, you got to pick champions that are able to pull off those dives, that are able to harass under tower and stop Ardmona being able to play this 1v2 playstyle. But Prodigium's getting away with these roams all the time for free. Ardmona's chilling out, he's getting the CS, and it's just not big enough punish. And what is this teleport coming out of Nikshu? They don't look comfortable. I'm just saying it. They do not look comfortable in these roles. And Youngbloods did this in the closing weeks of the season. It looked awful. It looked awful, and they've gone back to it. And I don't know who's shot calling this sort of stuff. Artur's now caught out in the jungle. He just burned his flash to get out with his life there, and it just looks ugly. This is not the Youngbloods we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I mean, definitely is sort of a back against the wall situation, right? You're one game away from your whole season just kind of not leading to a win. They're not going to come first, and you know, they are kind of starting to scramble here, definitely, and just try and find some kind of a you know, a chink in the armor to abuse, some kind of like mix up that's going to be the golden formula. But I definitely think last game they did play well. It was just kind of a bit of a worse draft to a degree. They didn't play the draft as well as they could have, and you know, that ended up leading to some bad plays, as well as that obviously Artur having to, you know, hold on to his TP a little bit in the mid lane there instead of expending it, which is things you touched on. So I think that they played well. It was just, you know, there's just a few things that they just needed to kind of shape up to come ahead of Destiny in this game too. But instead they've gone, you know, the complete opposite direction. Instead of kind of refining what they already had, they're just completely switching things to something different. And whether or not that's going to work here is definitely up for debate.
Yeah, honestly, bot lane's not going as bad as I think. Every other lane, though, is basically losing out here, and this Diana isn't even at her strongest point. Now she's ticked over to that level 6. I'm expecting to see Asuko just become a menace in this game and start dropping ults in combination with his team members and just picking up kills all over the map. Right now they're translating it over to the objectives. Luckily for Youngbloods, they were able to pick up first dragon, but I think that will be the last one they get with Destiny ramping up how aggressive they're playing here. And look at this rotations between Acer and Prodigium just all over the map. Yeah, the gold lead doesn't really reflect it. 2000 is by no means game over for this point, but I think there is a little bit more. Like, XP leads are crazy. We see just how badly Django is having it in this top lane right now, and AC goes on his way with that Rift Herald. Small advantages like this can easily balloon into massive ones, and I don't even think he needs Ichiko's help. It's just over for the top lane, it seems.
Yeah, this set pick is not one that's great when behind, as we mentioned. Prodigium does have to watch out though here. Maybe getting caught out. Unstoppable Force connecting itself onto Ardmona in the backside. Do they have any follow-up? We'll have to wait and see. Artur does indeed! Cleanse comes through to try and get that Ignite off of him, as well as the slows, but they do find themselves Prodigium in this bot side. And again, we were talking about this bot side of the map kind of symbolized as Youngblood's last hope at the moment.
And yeah, it looks like DC Guard's on the rotate there as the Phase Rush to get out of harm. He's really playing aggressive into this because guess what? Malphite has used his R button. He has nothing to be really afraid of.
Oh, Artur has to watch out, and they're just going to get bounced around by the Shockwave and the Moonfall. Nichu actually finding DSC Guard though over the wall. Great True Shot Barrage. Able to find themselves the pickup onto the Malphite. Anivia goes into Egg, and now Gator kind of left alone in a 1v3 situation while this Anivia is respawning. TP comes through. Nichu might be just going down here though, and now Django is in a 1v3. I'm not too sure what he's doing.
This is one of Youngblood's biggest problems. They just commit too hard to the lost play. I understand the thought process of everyone making the same play. Like, even if it's a bad one, if you all commit to it, usually it ends up better than making split decisions. But at some point, you gotta throw in the towel. Django is super guilty of this. We've seen it throughout the series of just committing to that lost play and just making it even worse for his team. And right now, we're talking, it was a 2k gold lead. Well, look at the gold lead now. It is just insurmountable. Arsenal's going to make it up a little there over a bit of greed coming out of Ardmona. But yeah, 5k gold lead, but just about picking up the Dragons. Azuko is 5-0. It's just an awful position to be in. And I don't know how they're going to bring it back.
Have to wait and see, but I mean, Gator is, you know, he's scaling up on this Ashe. We'll have to see what he can get done. But again, Ashe not the most 1v9 of 80 carries for sure, and you have to ask if maybe that's why Samira was banned out. They didn't want this Gator player to be on an 80 carry where he can take over the game by himself. He needs to play the Ashes, play these more utility-focused 80 carries, and now he's in the bot side against Jimbo Baggins, and this is definitely very, very scary, as this Yorick can just dive him. Look at the damage that the Yorick is taking compared to what he is dealing. He is just absolutely dumpstering Gator right now while tanking the full tower. Doesn't even care in the slightest. Prodigium coming down to help him out.
Yeah, Gator's not even going this with end build, which I expected him to. There's quite a bit of magic damage. Even Yorick himself has a decent amount of it, but he's going the traditional shield bow, and he's just getting absolutely run over.
Ooh, unstoppable Force, no flash available on Ardmona. The stun connects, and that's going to be a second pickup here. Meanwhile, on the top side, Django looking to try and do his best to get away from Aceco, but the dashes are just a little bit too much. Meanwhile, Jimbo Baggins.
Yeah, and you might think of, look at this game and be like, Diana is the one to watch the carry of Destiny here. She's actually just so far ahead, right? But if you look over to the gold and just look at how much gold Yorick has just gotten off of towers this game, he is the richest member by far, doubling the amount of gold that Django has, doubling the amount of gold that Nichu has. He's just absolutely unstoppable on this Yorick here, and he's just picked up the Hull Breaker, and it's going to get worse from here.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very scary to deal with this Yorick for sure. He is just kind of... He's playing Plants vs. Zombies, with him being the zombies. You know, he's just trying to whale down the plant towers. Kind of all he's doing right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think someone needs to drop some more money on the microtransactions to win out of this game of Plants vs. Zombies, because the zombies are a bit overpowered here. 8,200 gold on this Yorick. Already, 2 items completed, 14 minutes in the game. That Hull Breaker passive is going to be absolutely disgusting. He's going to be so tanky. He's going to deal so much damage to those towers. And they don't have anyone to answer the split push. Maybe the Anivia can wave clear him, but that's about it. Like, if Django
Solar
continues to
Flare,
mess
Fast Runner, Command Shockwave. That's going to be a quick and easy pickup onto the Malphite there. Does look like Destiny maybe looking to go aggressive here. Aceco going forward onto Artur, drops the Moonfall. The burst damage is huge. In comes Nichu though to finish off the jungler of this Destiny lineup, and he maybe gets out to safety. What a team play from Artur and Nichu to both get out alive and find the kill onto Aceco there. Absolutely well played, but Django, I don't think he understands that he absolutely just can't walk up ever to this Yorick. He just cannot be existing in the same game as this Yorick without suffering the consequences. Meanwhile though, Gator finding himself in a bit of a 1v2 scuffle against Prodigium and Ardmona. Flash forward by Nichu. He finds the wall. That's going to be Prodigium getting picked up right now. And Nichu is just making some miracle plays. And again, Django, man, what do you do? You can't walk up. You can't walk up. You're not allowed to.
He's going to try to defend his tower. He's just trying to hold on for his team, but he's got the short end of the stick. Jimbo actually ends up tanking tower for no reason. Could just concede that play there and just take the kill and walk away. Tries to double down for the tower, but really unnecessarily goes down there. But it doesn't matter because he's still far and away the strongest member. And there's not too much. Honestly though, Destiny have been stepping up, giving some gold over to the side of Youngbloods here. Nichu and Artur actually have pretty decent KDAs to back themselves up, but these champions I feel like aren't enough to counteract the champions on the other side. This Diana is just going to find their engages. It doesn't really matter if this Elise is fed or not. But yeah, we'll see whether they can prove me wrong. 5k gold lead still ahead here, but I think there's the nail in the coffin. They can find the team fights, it's just they can't deal with the split push, and it's only a matter of time for a team like Destiny being so reactive.
Oh my goodness, I thought Artur nearly lived again. Anivia going to go egg form at the moment. Django finding himself in a 1v3 situation while the rest of his team is coming to back him up. In comes Gator, Nichu coming out of the egg. Django's still alive, but it looks like Destiny have fallen back enough to reset themselves to push onto this bot side tier 2. Only a couple more autos on this tower will do the trick, but obviously Nichu on this Anivia, the wave clear, is quite impressive.
Yeah, and they are swinging back pretty well. It's just, it's in a 45 basically.
Oh no, Ardmona! Ardmona! Getting a little bit too greedy there. They try and find the kill onto this Ezreal. Are they going to be able to chase him down? In comes Guard with the shields though. Ardmona living to see another day. Barely getting out of that one alive. Ardmona gets so greedy there for the tower, and somehow it ends up working out in their favor as they bait the Malphite to come in. But here comes Artur, maybe looking to clean up, and there is just a fiesta going on this bot side. They do have to be careful though, as Aceco has joined the fray. Coon goes a little wide there.
Django flashing out for his life here. Jimbo Baggins having the time of his life, playing PvE, and yeah, honestly, Ardmona wasn't even close. He still had both summons. I'm surprised he didn't even cleanse the ignite. That was way more damage than he should have taken there in that play, but he chills out, ends up escaping with all his summoners in tow. And now he's just back for that mana mute, and Ezreal was scaling like a monster here. He's going to become a problem that Youngbloods have to deal with. And yeah, there's too many problems left, right, and center for this Youngblood squad, and they have so many limited tools. Just working around a Cocoon and a Malphite ult is basically all you really have to try and find these engages back. And maybe an Ash Arrow if they catch someone sleeping, but all these champs, so hard to catch out. I'm wondering how they're going to do it, and I think the easy answer is they're probably not, but they're going to give it their best shot. Yeah, trying to catch out the Ezreal, not easier said than done here, and we see just how much damage he's putting out. We saw Ardmona just chunk out Django with a WQ, almost half his health, straight off the bat there. And yeah, oh, they do find Azuko not sweeping correctly in the jungle, but I kind of like Jimbo Baggins.
Very scary that they're going to be trying to go after Jimbo Baggins here. Flashes forward, tries to look for the kill onto Fast Runner, but you know, it lives up to his name. He's a little bit too quick, I'm afraid. Kiting around Jimbo Baggins the best he can, and Nichu just doing the most with this Leandri's Torment right now as they successfully kite him around long enough to bring him down. And that is going to be Nichu finding himself unstoppable in this game. Fast Runner nearly dying PvE to the creep wave. Does have to watch out for that.
Yeah, and honestly, the only reason he did go down there is because he didn't have any ghouls. He didn't have his army to back him up, just the maiden there. If there was some ghouls involved when he was landing those E's, the damage would have been absolutely disgusting. But they are able to kite him out and pick up Jimbo there. They're doing all they can. I'll give it to them. I'll give them that. But unfortunately, even with these players that look like it's going their way, they're just bleeding resources all over the map. They're not picking up farm where they should be. And even though they're finding kills, they're actually falling further behind in gold. And that's just how the snowball works in this game. You sacrifice things, send 3 people top, you're going to be picking up less gold elsewhere on the map. And yeah, the plays look okay from just the eye check perspective, but if you look behind the scenes at the gold, it's actually looking pretty bad for the side of Youngbloods.
Have to just wait and see. Looks like Baron getting pinged up here by the side of Destiny.
Yeah, well, Nick Chu's actually doing pretty well here onto that Anivia, but he's got a lot of work cut out for him. He is an Anivia versus a very high engaged team, as I was about to say, and I don't even get to finish my sentence before he gets engaged on. And yeah, I was saying Destiny playing this game so slow for some reason. They have such a commanding lead and they're not translating it into anything really significant. That you're taking a lot of pressure in the side lanes and they haven't really done much with it, but finally heading over towards that Baron, they're more than fed enough to do it, even though it's 20 minutes in, and hopefully Youngbloods can find a miracle steal, otherwise this game's gonna be looking like it's gonna end very quickly.
Yeah, in comes Django looking to get things done. Potentially he does have that full grit stack available. No ultimate comes out from him to speak of. Fast Runner waiting off in the backside here. Does have that unstoppable force available, but Jimbo Baggins is the man to watch. He has the Herald, and he is looking to get it done right now in this top side. Nick Chu doing his best to try and peel Gator, but he's just such an unstoppable force right now. Malphite might be in the game. He might have the unstoppable force spell, but Jimbo, he is the real unstoppable force. Great Zhonya's by Aceco, goes golden to avoid the Malphite ultimate, but now all eyes on Artor. He's the only man left. He goes forward. He's not going to get the steal, as it is going to be none other than DST Guard grabbing up the Baron here. That is looking like it might be Destiny knocking on the doors of knocking Youngbloods out of this tournament.
Not quite out of the tournament. There is still the 3rd place match that will have versus Corona Spaceship, but yeah, a shot
out of
at
the running
first place
to win, at least.
Yeah, a shot at first place. They can basically kiss goodbye with that Baron being secured. 10,000 gold lead now. And yeah, I'm not sure who's going to be taking down this Ezreal, who's going to be taking down this Yorick, because we see what they can do at this point. It is just insurmountable. And yeah, Ardmona having a great series. Jimbo Baggins also, even though his scoreline doesn't really reflect it, he is just a key factor to Destiny's success this game. And young Django again, just getting caught out, trying to make sure they're not getting closer towards that Dragon Soul, but it's at a heavy cost, it seems.
Have to wait and see. Meanwhile, they are just kind of baiting around Destiny right now, just trying to maybe look for a bit of a picnic. She's found some damage on the DST Guard right in here. Does have to watch out. Guard forced to flash over the wall. Arthur is actually chasing. What a psychopath. He finds the kill. Goes golden now, though. Is he going to be able to get out to safety? In comes Malphite, though. Unstoppable force does connect onto 2. Aceco goes forward with the Moonfall. Ardmona over the wall, though, going godlike. Finds himself to pick up onto Nick Chu. That could be exactly what they need, as yes, sir, the bot lane is going to follow. And that is going to be a triple kill going the way of Aceco. And now Team Destiny left with only the 1-8 to Django. The sole member of Youngbloods, the captain himself, left to try and defend, and well, that was anticlimactic. Jimbo Baggins is going to absolutely melt him down, and that looks like it's going to be, oh, it's crashed again. Very lovely. So it does look like that is going to be Destiny. We don't get a cool victory screen 2 games in a row, but that is Destiny winning this series 2-0, and they will advance for the rematch of the 2020 Grand Finals between Jupy's Angels. And I got to ask, Bloodexa, how you feeling?
Looking at that game there, honestly, would have been looking more exciting for the Grand Finals if Destiny played a super clean game. I understand that maybe the stakes weren't as high. They felt pretty comfortable in this matchup here, but they were making some pretty ugly mistakes. Wasn't exactly the cleanest games, but Youngblood's definitely playing the ugly game here, and Destiny picking up the win in this series. So in the head-to-head matchup, I'm not particularly worried unless they step up their gameplay, which I assume they will be over the coming weeks. Grand Finals isn't for a long time. Patches are going to be hitting the Rift before then, so who knows what will happen. But right now, I'm feeling pretty confident, just as the Jupies Angel side of things. But yeah, just talking more about the specific matchup versus Youngbloods. They were clearly the better team today. They just played together as a team. They had better drafts. They had everything going for them here, and they are going to be picking up the win and securing a minimum of second place there for the Northern Territory Esports League.
Yeah, definitely. Shout outs to Ardmona here. Look at the damage on this Ezreal that he was able to put out this game. Absurd amounts of poke damage with those Ezreal autos and Qs. And obviously we have, Django in the chat here saying we'll get him next year. Definitely good to see the good sportsmanship. Nick Chu with the GG as well. Lots of love and, definitely big shout outs to Youngbloods. They were a team that, went into it, and I'm sure they definitely weren't maybe not expecting to come out, in the top 3 of what was such a massive tournament so far. And unfortunately, this is going to be where your run ends. But there's going to be, the third place match still to come between you and Corona Spaceship, who obviously I do believe you've beaten the past, so we'll have to see if you can pull it out again. But definitely, folks, make sure you are going to be staying tuned next week, where we're going to be seeing the grand finals take place between Jupies Angels and Youngbloods. Jupies Angels and Destiny.
Yeah. I won't get too ahead of ourselves. I don't think it's next week. I believe we're lining it up for the start of October. Don't have the dates off the top of my head, but you will see posts going out. We're going to be putting out some hype content, trying to sell the finals to you guys. So make sure you guys have that date clear on your calendar when it does come through on those posts. We have some crazy stuff lined up. There's a bit of a highlights montage. We're going to be putting out a little top 5 plays of the season. So some content I'm sure everyone will love coming out for you guys here. But yeah, for today, that is all we really have for the semi-finals. A nice and quick 2-0 from Destiny, showing themselves just as dominant as Jupies in their semi-finals. And yeah, the 2 top teams are going to be facing off come the start of October.
Yeah, we'll have to just wait and see. But again, big shout outs to our major sponsors, Paul's Ice Coffee, the Northern Territory Government, and McDonald's Group Darwin, as well as all of our lovely minor sponsors, folks. To all the teams that played today, if you are in the chat, just a reminder, these lovely local businesses you see on your screen right here are all offering up discounts and all sorts of rewards to NTEL competitors as part of being our minor sponsors. So make sure you get involved. Head over to the Next Tier Gaming and Esports website and claim your discounts. Get that all nice and sorted out. But until next time, folks, thank you so much for listening in. We're going to close out the stream here and hopefully catch you next time for the grand finals. This has been Cadius, joined here on the casting desk by Bladexa. See you then right here on Next Tier Gaming and Esports for the NTEL 2021 season.